Two American Indian groups indigenous to the state are now formally recognized. The Piscataway Conoy tribe and the Piscataway Indian Nation both originate from southern Maryland. According to the census, Maryland has over 23,000 Native Americans living in the state and at least 58,000 residents who identify themselves as having Native American Indian heritage. Tonight, we hear more about the Piscataway Conoy tribe as we welcome tribal spokesman Rico Newman. Mr. Newman, thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure, my pleasure.
Well, a lot of people may not be familiar with the tribe's history. Would you mind just taking us back and telling us a little bit about your culture?
Well, the tribe's history is what has gotten us where we are. For the past 40 years, we've hired any number of ethnohistorians, genealogists to go through both the state records, church records, federal records, gleaning as much as they could that would satisfy the state's requirements in order for us to meet the parameters of law that status would be granted. It's been a very long journey, very expensive journey, but January the 9th wasn't an ending, it's a beginning. This event has had a lot of ink in the press, a lot of people have spoken on it, and a lot of it has been misinformation or disinformation. And I guess it would be not good for me to let the moment pass without trying to set some of the records straight. And I guess one of the things to let people know that what recognition does not do, it does not create any entitlements for which the members of the Piscataway community would have exclusive right to. It does not mean that we're going to start, as I saw in one article, we're going to build casinos, hotels, harness racetracks, theme parks, and nobody's going to have to give back their land. That issue was settled back during the Schaefer administration when he had the state's attorney general to research it, and he came back with no, a state recognized tribe cannot demand a return of any land. But that door closes. Now another door opens, and it's where we go forward, and a lot of people want to know, well, what does it mean? Basically what it does is bring us up to a level playing field. For the past 40 years since the enactments of civil rights legislation, of set-asides, minority contracting, we've been left off of that playing field because every state regulation states that if you identify as Native, you have to have that special relationship either with the federal government or the state where they acknowledge your status. And absent that status, you were denied access to those programs that a lot of people take for granted.
Wow. And so, Mr. Newman, would you mind just telling us a little bit about what it means for you personally to find, you said it was a long road and a lot of ink has been involved in this.
Yes, it has. Well, for me personally, I don't like to tell my story, but as a young man, I grew up in Southeast Washington, by the Navy Yard. It was a very rough existence down there. I was like a sore thumb in the neighborhood. I was sent off at a very early age to Indian boarding school in Pennsylvania, not Carlisle. There were a lot of boarding schools around. When I left there, the last thing I wanted to do was identify as Native. Most of my life was spent, getting an education as I could. I was directed into vocational training, which I liked. I liked to race cars, so that was my avocation for a while. But it didn't strike me that my identity was important until 1988, when I was given an opportunity to retire early. And I decided, because I had been in real estate for quite a while, and that was during the period that the savings and loan debacle struck. There was an enormous amount of assets out there that had to be disposed of, and it was an opportunity for me to incubate my new business and get contracts. After going to Philadelphia, going through the training on my dime, I filed, and a certain amount of contracts are given to prime contractors, subcontractors, and part of that has to be given to minority contractors. I signed up as Native, and I got a letter from them a couple weeks later telling me, sorry, your tribe is not state or federally recognized. We can't do business with you.
But now things have changed.
Now things will change. That is when the light went on for me, and I contacted the tribal office, and I've pretty much been in it.
All right.
Head and toe since.
Well, I understand that 30 days before we go, can you just tell us what is next for you and the group?
Well, the ink, we're waiting for the smoke to clear and the ink to dry. Once that does, then we'll start looking at just what does it mean in terms of having equal access to both programs and projects that the state funds. It's a new experience for us, and we really don't know. We haven't had that experience. Other people have had a 40-year head start on us. So our tribal leaders will be meeting with state and county leaders to determine exactly what does this mean? You know, what conditions, what parameters, what do our people need to do if they want to do minority contracting? What do young kids who aspire to go to college, how will they be able to get scholarship? People that have health issues, you know, what will they qualify for that they don't now? The only thing that most of our population is eligible for now, if they're broke enough, then they qualify for a lot of things. It's sad that you have to be dragging the ground and in poverty before you can qualify for things, and there's no other door for you. But now a lot of doors will open. We just have to find out where they are so we can get through them.
All right, well, Mr. Newman, thank you so much for stopping by to tell us about this. We appreciate it.